Have you been looking for your mascara soulmate? I've been on the hunt for years now, and I have found some really great options. So if you've been looking for a thorough review of over 25 mascaras, this is your video. Welcome back, Awakening Beauties. My name is Robin, and this channel is focused on living vibrantly at any age, especially over 50. And I've been on the hunt, y'all. I've been looking for mascaras that fit the type of formulas that I particularly like. And just so you know what kind of formulas I like, my gold standard for the past about 10 years has been Thrive Causemetics, their liquid lash extensions. It was sort of like before Thrive Causemetics, after Thrive Causemetics, because once I tried their tubing formula, I was pretty much hooked, and that was the only mascara that I wore for a good probably 5 or 6 years. But over the past few years, I've been trying various formulas. I would say actually over the past 2 years, I've been trying various formulas. And I counted it up, and I've actually tried 28 mascaras in this past 2 years. So some of them I still have in my possession. Others were gone with the wind, or gone with the trash, as it were. Didn't hold on to them. So we're going to go through them, and I'm going to give a brief review. And I've rated them all the way from number 28, the worst, all the way to number 1. And I'll tell you the reasons why. I had the following criteria. I was ranking from a scale of 1 to 5 of each of these categories. If it flaked, if it smudged, if it was lengthening, or if it was volumizing. And then I gave it an overall ranking of 1 to 5, 5 being the best and 1 being the worst. Then I made a note of would I buy it again, and then I made some additional notes off to the side so that I could remember all of my thoughts about these different formulas. So getting started, number 28, which was the worst of the worst formulas. I don't have it here anymore because, like I said, some of them got tossed out pretty quickly. Was so disappointing, but it was the FENTY Hella Thick Volumizing Mascara. This mascara was a complete disaster. I couldn't control it. It smudged everywhere. It flaked everywhere. It was thick. It was glappy, and it was just a complete disaster. I tried wearing it 3 or 4 times, and I even cleaned the wand off as good as I could before going in, and it was just a terrible formula. Number 27, and it's so funny that this short that I made where I found this product in Walmart, and it was just like a 10-15 second short where I'm like, oh look, I found the Revolution or Makeup Revolution RELOVE. That short has gotten almost, I don't remember, but it has a lot of views. Yes! I can't wait to try this. I'll let you know how it goes. And the reason why I never really talked about it was because it was awful. Yes, it was like a $3 mascara, but here was the criteria. It flaked on a scale of 1 to 5, it was a 2. And smudging on a scale of 1 to 5, it smudged as a 2. Volumizing was not volumizing. Lengthening, I gave it a 4. But man, it was messy. It was a very wet formula and went on really messy, hard to control, didn't dry down very quickly. It was hard to build on itself because it did stay so wet. And I only wore it a couple of times. I tried it, again, I probably gave it 4 or 5 goes, and then I just gave up. Number 26, and this was really surprising to me. It was the Jane Iredale Beyond Lash Volumizing Mascara. It went on beautifully. I loved how lengthened and volumized my lashes looked. I really did like the way it looked when it went on. But there was so much flaking every day. At the end of the day, there were just flakes under my eyes. So disappointing. I couldn't believe that it flaked as much as it did. That was a real surprise. And for the price point, very unhappy surprise. So Jane Iredale came in at number 26. At number 25 was the Milani highly rated tubing mascara. Well, it's not highly rated by me because it came in at number 25. I gave it an overall rating of a 2. Flaking, it came in at a 3. Smudging, it came in at a 5. This thing just smudged everywhere. It was also a very wet formula. Too wet, could not build on itself. Whenever I tried to build on it, it was not gonna have it. And it just became a complete disaster. It was so bad the first time I tried using it that I had to just take everything off and start all over again. So coming at number 25, the Milani highly rated. This is not a good tubing formula. There are better ones at the drugstore, which I will talk about. Coming at number 24 is the e.l.f. Lash It Loud. This one irritated my eyes. I wasn't really sure why. I maybe because it was a very thick formula that it just kind of irritated my eyes. And I was still using this when I had my contact lenses. So anything that got too thick was very irritating to contact lenses. I gave it an overall rating of a 3. The reason being is that it flaked and it smudged at a 1, just a slight bit of smudging. It did volumize a bit and it did lengthen a bit, but it was just like there was nothing special about it. I just didn't like it, so it came in at number 24. Coming in at number 23, maybe it should rank higher than this, but the e.l.f. INCRED-ICURL, I gave it an overall rating of a 3, and the reason being was that it was very thick, but it came out very dry, very thick and very dry, which made it difficult to work with, and I just didn't care for it. It did volumize, it did lengthen. I didn't notice any smudging or flaking, but it was just too thick. That was my main note about it. So didn't love it, won't rebuy it. Coming in at number 22 is the Essence Lash Princess. Now this is a very highly rated on Ulta and Amazon, but for me, I gave it on a scale of 1 to 5, I gave it a 3. And the reason was that it smudged. It flaked a little bit, but the smudging, I gave it a 5. It did lengthen, it did volumize, but I just couldn't deal with the smudging. I can deal with a little bit of flaking, but I can't deal with smudging. At number 21, and this surprises me when I hear other content creators talk about this one. This is the L'Oreal Panorama. I gave it a score of a 3. It did apply really beautifully, and I loved the look of it, but it smudged too much. And I also made note that it was very hard to remove, and it is a waterproof formula. I did get the waterproof formula, but it was really difficult to get it off, even with eye makeup remover for waterproof makeup. It flaked, I gave it a 1, so not a lot of flaking, but it did smudge. I gave it a 5 for smudging. It was lengthening and volumizing, but I would not rebuy it because of the smudging. At number 20 is the Tower 28 Make Waves Lengthening and Volumizing Mascara. I don't have this here with me. I tried this, man, I want to say I tried this in 2023 during my no-buy year when I was replacing mascaras. I gave it an overall rating of a 3. There was nothing terribly wrong with it as far as flaking and smudging. That was very minimal, but it just didn't give me volume and it didn't lengthen. I gave it a 3 for lengthening and a 3 for volumizing. It just didn't knock my socks off. It was an okay formula. And I said, would I buy it again? I put it as a maybe, but I'm gonna change that and say, no, I wouldn't buy it again because there are other formulas that I have found since then that are lengthening and volumizing and much less expensive. Tower 28 at number 20. At number 19, this really disappointed me because so many people have been talking about this mascara and it came out just this past year. and that is the Persona Volume Tubing Mascara. I'm sorry, this is not a tubing formula, because when it's a tubing formula, you really can just wash it off with hot water and it'll come off your lashes in little tubes. This does not do that. In fact, it's very hard to remove, and it leaves like, you know, that residue behind. And sometimes even in the morning, I will notice that my eyelashes felt crusty because I wasn't able to remove all of it from the night before. So I gave it an overall of a rating of a 3. It did flake. I gave it a 2 for flaking and a 2 for smudging. It was sort of volumizing, sort of lengthening, a 3 for both of those categories. And it just disappointed. It just disappointed, especially because they're calling it a tubing formula and it's just not a tubing formula. So no, I won't rebuy that. I don't have too much to say about this one. I obviously didn't take very many notes about it. It's fine. It's a good and popular mascara. And so at number 18 is the Benefit FANFEST. It is volumizing. I don't remember if it was lengthening. I gave it a 2 for flaking and a 2 for smudging. So minimal flaking and smudging. I gave it an overall though of a 4 out of 5 because it was a pretty good formula. It's just sort of expensive. And even though I liked it, I think that there's other things that I like better. You know, if it was on a really good sale, maybe I would rebuy it, but I don't think so. I don't think that I would rebuy this one. This one, I don't really remember it that well, and maybe it should have ranked much lower on my list, but it's the Clinique High Impact, High Full Volume Mascara. And I honestly don't remember it. It fell into the back of my drawer. I discovered it when I was taking out my current mascaras. And I was like, yeah, I know I used this and I'm gonna have to use it again. I think it flaked and smudged. I think that's why I wasn't using it. I'm gonna have to try it again. But my overall impression was that it was just, meh, it wasn't so great. In fact, I would say that the Benefit is probably better than this. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna say that Benefit was better than this. So those probably should be switched. So this actually would come in at number 18 and the Benefit would come in at number 17. At number 16 is the Clinique High Impact Zero Gravity. I gave this an overall score of a 4. It did not smudge, it did not flake. However, it just wasn't very volumizing. I gave it a 2 for volumizing. It was more of a lengthening and separating formula, but I like to get volume on my mascara, and this just didn't cut it. It's a nice, like, everyday kind of mascara, but if I'm looking for high impact, which I'm not looking for high impact every day, there are other things that I would prefer over this. So this is just an okay formula, and it's not inexpensive, so I don't know that I would rebuy this. Probably not. I'm gonna say no, I would not repurchase this. Coming in at number 15 is the Bobbi Brown Smoky Eye Mascara. I gave this an overall rating of a 4, and it is a good formula. I had just the most minute amount of flaking. I had no smudging. I gave it a 5 for lengthening and 5 for volumizing. I would possibly rebuy this again, but it was just very expensive, and I think that there are other alternatives that are just cheaper and work just as well as this one. It is a good formula though, if you're looking for a more expensive high-end mascara, then you might want to try this one out. This is a very similar ranking, the Colossal Bubble from Maybelline, and this came out this past year. At first, I didn't like this formula. I thought it was very thick, very gloppy. I didn't like it, but the more I used it and wiped down the wand and just went in with light layers, the more I really started to like it. And the reason being was that I had, again, very minimal. If I had any flaking, it was just tiny little specks at the end of the day. No noticeable smudging on me. And it gave me length and it gave me volume. So I would possibly repurchase this again, and I gave it an overall rating of a 4. I'm really glad that I kept these records because I'm coming across products that I had forgotten about that I actually really liked and might end up buying again. One of those being, and I don't have it here, it's the L'Oreal Lash Paradise. My one caveat with that one is that it dried out too quickly. And I noticed that it really dried out very fast, but I gave it an overall rating of a 4. It was lengthening, it was volumizing. As far as smudging or flaking, I gave those 2 categories a 1, which was very minimal. And it's a really good formula. It's a really good drugstore formula. At number 12 is actually the one I'm wearing on my eyes right now. And I had a little bit of a disaster. I spilled a glass of water in here and it went into the outlet that my lights were all plugged into. So something happened and that mascara went missing during the kerfuffle of trying to clean up all of the water that got spilled on the ground. But that is by PROMETICS, which I had not heard about. They reached out to me and they sent me this product, and it's a tubing mascara, and I do really like it. It's very reminiscent of the Thrive Cosmetics. It does remove in tubes. It's very easy to remove, and it gives you length and it gives you volume and very minimal smudging, very minimal flaking. And I did like that formula. I think it's really good. I hope I find the tube because I've only used it a few times. It's somewhere. Who knows where it went. Me and my husband looked everywhere for it and we couldn't find it. But anyways, that comes in at number 12, PROMETICS Prime Lash Lengthening and Volumizing Mascara. At number 11 is Essence by Panda Eyes. Now, I don't know, maybe I should have ranked this a little bit lower because my notes here was that it just doesn't give me the volume I'm looking for, but it's a really nice formula. I gave it an overall rating of a 4, 0 for flaking, 0 for smudging. So the Bye Panda Eyes, they are not kidding. It does not flake, it does not smudge. But for lengthening, I gave it a 3, and volumizing, I gave it a 2. I would possibly repurchase this. It's better as an everyday, you know, if you're not trying to have dramatic eyes, you just need a little bit of color on your eyelashes. And it is a really nice formula. So it came in at 11. I was sort of tossed up, wasn't sure exactly where to put this, but I feel good about putting it at number 11. It's not in my top 10, but it's just outside my top 10. Coming in at number 10 is the e.l.f. Lash Extender. This is a tubing formula and I have it in 2 colors. I got it in brown and I got it in black. And I really like the brown for my lower lashes and the black for my upper lashes. Yes, I would rebuy this. I gave it an overall ranking of a 4, 0 for flaking, 0 for smudging. Volumizing, I gave it a 3, and lengthening, I gave it a 4. It's not as volumizing as I'd want it to be. Like, it's not as volumizing as Thrive Cosmetics. And as we know, that is my gold seal. But it is a good formula. And for the price point, if you like a tubing mascara, you might want to try this out and see if you like it. This one I also don't have. I must have bought this during my no-buy year. It's the CALIRAY Come Hell or High Water. And I did give it an overall rating of a 5. So maybe I should try it again. There was 0 flaking, 0 smudging, a 5. I gave it a 5 for lengthening and a 5 for volumizing. And my only complaint was that it seemed like it dried up very quickly. I didn't get as many months out of it as I would have liked. At number 8 is the LANCOME Lash Idôle Flutter Extensions. This is a very different formula than the ones that I say that I like as far as a tubing formula. This is not a tubing formula. And it was a 3 for volume. I gave it a 3. And I gave it a 5 though for lengthening. It gives you very beautiful fluttery lashes. And I gave it an overall ranking of a 5 because it did not smudge. I gave it a 1 for flaking because it did flake just a tiny bit. But really the flaking, I made a note that the flaking didn't happen when I first started using it, only when it got a little bit older, more dried out, that it did flake a little bit. So this I would repurchase because I really love the way it made my lashes look. Very fluttery, like I said. So this was a very good formula. This one I really love, and I had sort of forgotten about it. But coming in at number 7 was the L'Oreal Paradise Big Deal. This got a 5 out of 5. 0 flaking, 0 smudging, lengthening, 5, volumizing, 5. This is a great formula. I love this formula, and I would definitely rebuy this. I'm glad that I kept this list because I'd sort of forgotten about it. But yeah, this Paradise Big Deal is a big deal. It is really good. Not a tubing formula, but it's really good. Same for this, the Revlon Full Time. It got all the same grades basically as the L'Oreal did. I gave it a 5 in my ranking scale. 0 smudging, 0 flaking. It was lengthening. I gave it a 5 for lengthening and a 5 for volumizing. This was a really good formula that I forgot that I had tried, but I liked it a lot. And yeah, I would definitely rebuy this. This is funny. This is the Essence What the Fake. Comes in at number 5. And I gave it an overall ranking, I don't know why, of a 4.5. I think there was just maybe something about it that I couldn't give it a full 5. I'm not really sure what, because I said it was a great formula, lengthening and volumizing. Both 5s and 5s for lengthening and volumizing. 0s for flaking, 0 for smudging. And I probably, you know what, I'm gonna bump that. I'm gonna bump that. It's going to a 5. I'm making it a 5. This is a really good formula. I mean, in fact, it came in at number 5 out of my 28 formulas that I tried. So if you're looking for a very inexpensive drugstore mascara that gives you length, volume, that's very impactful, try this one. It's really good. Coming in at number 4 is the e.l.f. Lash N Roll. And if I would think back, looking at all of these great formulas that I've just been talking about, I kind of was going back and forth whether I should put this at number 4. But when I was kind of reviewing some of my older videos and when I was trying some of these other formulas, I kept going back to this one and saying, especially when it came to like the Bobbi Brown or some of the more expensive ones like the Clinique or the Benefit, I'm like, the Lash N Roll is really inexpensive and it's a really great formula. So I just had to put this at number 4 because I kept mentioning it in all these older videos as a comparison. So I gave it an overall rating of a 5. It was a 0 for flaking and a 0 for smudging. The one caveat was that it was not volumizing. It was very lengthening, but not volumizing. And it's better for like every day. It's not a glam kind of mascara. It's just nice for every day. If you just need a little look, if you're kind of doing a no makeup look, this is a really good one. Yeah, I really love this one and I will be repurchasing this because I remembered really liking it when I was wearing it. This one was a discovery for me this year. It's by no means is it a new formula, but it's the Tartelette, at least I don't think it's new. I think it's been out for a while, but it's the Tartelette tubing mascara. I said that this was the closest match to the Thrive Cosmetics. It's a tubing formula, lengthening, volumizing, no smudging, no flaking at all. And, you know, I got the mini when I was in the checkout at Sephora at one point. And this has been traveling with me. Whenever I go somewhere, I've been taking this one with me because of the size and because I really like it. So this came in at number 3 for all of the mascaras that I have tried over the past few years. Now, I've already said Thrive was my gold standard, my gold seal, and I put it at number 2. It came in at number 2. There's something that beat it, but only slightly. So I love this formula. Like I said, I've been wearing this formula for the past 10 years. and it's lengthening, it's volumizing, it doesn't smudge, it doesn't flake, and it's just sort of a perfect tubing formula. It is the gold standard. It's what I compare every other tubing formula to. So for me, this is coming in at number 2, but just barely, because something was released this year that has really knocked my socks off. It was my favorite mascara of last year. If you saw my video where I ranked all the makeup that I used last year, it came in at number 1, and that is the DIBS Double Standard Primer and Mascara Duo. This is just fantastic. It's just everything that you want, because on one side is a tubing formula, and that's the primer, and it's brown. So it's also nice for your lower lashes so they don't get black and spidery. You can just use this brown tubing formula on your lower lashes. And then once you prime your lashes, you can go in with this volumizing and thickening and lengthening formula that's on this bigger fluffy brush. It just lengthens, it volumizes, it doesn't smudge, it doesn't flake, it holds your curl. It is sort of just the perfect mascara product that has come out in a really long time. And I know I'm not alone in singing its praises, but coming in at number 1 for all of the mascaras that I tried in the past 3 years is the DIBS. So what do you think? Were any of your favorites on my list? And if they were, where did they fall on my list? You feel free to disagree with me. If you loved some of the formulas that I don't personally like, let me know down below. I would love to know what your favorite mascara is. And if your favorite mascara was not on my list, please leave that below, because I am looking always to try new mascaras, because that's something that you go through every 3 or 4 months. So, you know, those are replacement products, and I love to try new mascaras. Even though there were some that I love so much that I said, yes, I would definitely rebuy them, I still have more. I still have more that I want to try. So let me know what your favorite mascara is. Also, if you hated something that I loved, I'd love to know that as well. Let me know. This might be a kind of controversial video because, you know, everybody's taste is unique, and what they like and what their needs are and what they're looking for in a mascara. So this is just my personal opinion, and take it or leave it. Hopefully it brought some value and some information about something you might be thinking about buying. And that's what I'm here for. I'm just here to give my personal opinion about these products. Well, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And also, if you want to know right when I upload, which is about once a week, then hit the notification bell. That way you don't miss any of my content. Again, I really appreciate your time. This has been a lot of fun to film, going through all of these mascaras that have lived in my life for the past 3 years. Well, until next time, just want you to know, love you guys so much, and you're doing great.